Now, to make sure that we're all on the same page with regard to what paid search is, this is an example of a Google search results page. And you can see I've done a search for Atlanta continuing education, and the locations within this page where you're seeing paid search ads are here, being highlighted right now for you. So those two areas, they're called sponsored links on Google and something similar to that on Yahoo and MSN. They're in a slightly different color up top, but you'll always see them either at the top or down the side, and I often get asked what's the difference between them. Well, the ones at the top that appear above what we call the organic search results are the two that have rated the highest. So the Accelerate Your Career and Emory Univ Continuing Ed are the two pay-per-click ads that have outperformed all of the others for reasons that we'll talk about in a little bit. And so they have actually done so well that they get placed up at the top of the page above the organic results, which obviously has a nice positive effect on the number of people that are going to click on those two ads. So you can say Accelerate Your Career is number 1, Emory Univ is number 2, College in Atlanta is number 3, JSU Continuing Education 4, and so forth. But that's what we're talking about today, things called sponsored links. Here are these pay-per-click ads. Now, one of the unusual attributes of pay-per-click advertising as compared to other marketing channels is the fact that you only pay money when someone actually clicks on your ad. So if you pay $5,000 to put a billboard up on the side of the highway, before you've ever gotten a single person who enrolls in your program because of that billboard, you've already spent that money. The pay-per-click is very much action-driven marketing. So as we'll talk about a little bit later, there are advantages to this, but the biggest one is that it's hard to really waste money on pay-per-click advertising, because at the very least, every time you pay out a penny, someone has gotten to your website. So there is some value in every single dime that changes hands within pay-per-click marketing for your program. They may not enroll at that point, but at least they've become aware of you. So every time you pay money, someone has arrived at your site. The display of ads are completely free under pay-per-click marketing. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the top pay-per-click providers are Google, Yahoo, and MSN. Google has an even larger share of pay-per-click marketing than it does of search marketing. So we saw it was about 63% of searches. But if you were, there are almost everyone who's doing pay-per-click marketing is advertising on Google. A subset of that is choosing to advertise on Yahoo, and an even smaller subset is choosing to advertise on MSN. So if you're just getting started with it and you have to pick one, Google is probably the way to go. Although if you have the budget and you have the time to put it together, the nice thing about Yahoo and MSN is sometimes there's some deals to be found. Because there's not as much advertising competition, you may be able to get your ad in front of just as many people or even more for your budget money, because you may be having to bid less to get your ad to show up on Yahoo and MSN, just because fewer people are using those as marketing channels. Let's go ahead and do our second poll, and I'm going to pop it up here in just a moment. But I'd like to know from you guys what you might be using. So I'm going to go ahead and launch this poll. So give us a sense, and you can mark. You should be able to mark more than one of these. But tell us, are you using Google pay-per-click already? Are you using Yahoo, MSN, or are you using any other kind of paid pay-per-click online marketing? Okay. Give just another minute here. And Stacy, go ahead if you don't mind, and close that poll, and let's show people the results. Great. I am having trouble seeing the results on my screen, but I hear that you guys can all see them, so that is terrific. Stacy, do you mind just telling people? Wait a minute, I've got it. So it looks like we've got almost half of people are using Google AdWords, and then smaller percentages using Yahoo and MSN or the Microsoft Ad Center, and then several people are using even other pay-per-click vendors, and there are several out there. We do some pay-per-click with Emory University through Amazon. So when someone goes onto Amazon and searches for a book on, say, website design, we have an ad for Emory's web certificate program that comes up there. So there's lots of other pay-per-click vendors out there. They just don't have the reach that Google, Yahoo, and MSN do. Excellent. So let's talk a little bit more about the pay-per-click process. So as you set up pay-per-click, it's all automated online. You may never end up talking to a living human being from any of the three main pay-per-click companies. Once you get your account set up and get going, you can have ads appear within minutes. As we saw, the ads are going to show up either above or to the right of the search results, and you get to choose when those ads are going to appear for you. So you choose what searches would trigger your ads to appear. So if you want to bid on a search, for instance, continuing education in your geographic area, anytime someone types continuing education into the Google search box, you can have an ad for your program appear. You also get to write what those ads are, and we'll talk about what they consist of a little bit later, but you write the ads and you choose how much you're willing to bid. And as you can see, you may not end up paying the full amount that you bid, so maybe you bid $2 for every time someone would click on your ad, but the next highest bidder is bidding $1.75. Well, when someone clicks on your ad, you'd end up paying $1.76. But if someone else was bidding $1.99, you would then end up paying the full $2 that was your maximum bid. So you choose your search terms, you write your own ads, and then you set what your maximum bid amounts are going to be, and then the system, the pay-per-click system handles the rest. Some of the things that set pay-per-click apart as a marketing channel that I find are real advantages to it. Number one, it's results oriented, and what I mean by that is that you don't pay money unless someone has not only seen your ad but has actually taken some action to indicate that they're somewhat interested. They have to click on your ad to visit your website. So you only pay money when someone gets onto your site. They can also give you very high visibility. You know, you can think about for instance, putting up a billboard. You might get that billboard in front of thousands and thousands of people driving down the road. But you can also run pay-per-click ads, and you can get those in front of thousands and thousands of people that aren't just happen to be passing by, but that are actually doing searches for what you have to offer. So pay-per-click ads can give you thousands of what we call impressions, or they can be at least shown on the screen that someone is looking at thousands of times within just a month. They're also immediate. One of the advantages to pay-per-click is that once you have an account up and going, you can have ads appearing for a new class or a new certificate program within a matter of hours. So if you're trying to get some last-minute enrollments in something, you can throw an ad out there for 3 or 4 days, get several thousand impressions and maybe a few extra registrations, where just putting it out on your website might not have that same effect. So it can be very immediate. And then lastly, it's very targeted. And that's because, again, you get to choose when your ads show up. If, say, you're running a continuing education program in Atlanta, you can say, I want my ad to show up only when someone types in Atlanta continuing education. That's a very, very targeted audience. You have a high chance that that person is really interested in what you offer. And obviously you can get even more specific than that. You could say Atlanta paralegal certificate or something similar to really target in people that are looking for what you do.